What is man making and nation building? Today, we even have with us Revered Swami Gautamananda ji, who is one of the most senior-most monks of Ramakrishna order. He is currently the president of Ramakrishna Mutt, Mylapore, Chennai. He has served amongst tribals in Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh for about 20 years of his life, providing them with proper education. He was the head of Shraddha Peeth, Vellore Mutt, which is a large complex of education and technical institutions. Swamiji is known for his humorous but firm nature. He is a multifaceted personality. He is a linguist with proficiency in English, Kannada, Tamil, Sanskrit, Hindi, and Bengali. He is an accomplished singer. He speaks and writes proficiently on Vedanta philosophy and Indian culture. I would now like to call upon Swamiji to address the gathering.
ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Dear Swami Atma Shraddhananda ji, dear Professor Karmalkar ji, dear N. Krishnamurti ji, my dear faculty members and my very dear students of this IIT. I am not new to this Vivekananda study circle in this IIT. I have come here several times. Only due to some circumstances since last 2 years I could not come. Earlier I have come several times here, and your director Dr. Anant also is very intimately known to us. He has come to our institutions. We have shared the same platform several times. So I am happy here, breaking this 2 years chasm and before you to participate in your 14th annual study circle on this day. To run an institution successfully for 14 years is a good achievement, I should say. So you are conducting Sunday classes, as you already announced, and Friday discussions and other national celebrations also. They are all well attended by the students. Everything is a very welcome news as a group activity for the students here, especially where Swami Vivekananda's life and teachings are studied and discussed. It should be a very, very useful group activity. Swami Vivekananda said, he was speaking in California to the Americans. So he told, it was in the second visit of Swami Vivekananda to West. He was speaking to an audience there in California. They were not so very much enthused by his words. Rather, they expressed what he was speaking was too high for them. They are unable to understand that they would not be able to follow them in their action. Swamiji told them, my words are like phosphorus. They burn themselves into your heart. You will not be able to throw them out. It will bring out action from you. This was Swamiji's words. If you put a phosphorus anywhere, for seeing from outside, it looks like an ordinary thing, but it burns itself through. It burns anything it touches. Swamiji compared his words to phosphorus. When once I utter the words, it enters your ears, it goes into your heart, it pierces your heart. You will not be able to throw it out. You will have to bring it out through your action someday. And we know Swamiji, through such words to this Indian nation from the day he started speaking. Right from his young age, whenever he spoke, he always spoke fire and spoke truth. Mr. Krishnamurti was telling you about that incident of an old man just trying to frighten him. Don't climb this tree, there is Brahma Rakshas there. Swamiji was at about 7 or 8 year only at that time. He was playing on a tree, and this old gentleman wanted to stop him from climbing the tree and creating nuisance. So he just to frighten him, saying there is a Brahma Rakshas, a big fierce demon is there. So it will just twist your neck and kill you. Don't climb. Then all the other boys got frightened and went away. Swamiji did not, Narendranath, he did not come down at all. Then afterwards his friends came. After some time he came down and then told them. They all said, why were you staying there on the street? That Brahma Rakshas was there, it would have hurt you. And said, you fools, if the Brahma Rakshas was not there, was there, we have been playing here for the last 7 or 8 days. Would it not have come? Would it not have come and hurt? As it is a muhurta for it to come and kill us. This was the fiery words of Swamiji. From the time he started speaking, that was his teaching. That's why he said, my words will not go in vain. It has to take action. So this Naren was like that. So we are discussing his teachings and life. It certainly will bring a very, very good improvement in all your faculties. Strength of body. Swamiji was very strong. His courage we always appreciate. Always behind the courage there must be strength. A person who is strong only can be courageous. So Swamiji was courageous, and behind his courage was strength. Strength of body, strength of reason, strength of spiritual realization, and more than that, the strength of sacrifice and service. This was the tremendous strength he had. So he had realized as a spiritual being, God in all. Sri Ramakrishna, he went to Sri Ramakrishna as a disciple. Sri Krishnamurti has told you. He asked Sri Ramakrishna, have you seen God? He had gone to several other saints also. He had asked, he went to, for example, Devendranath Tagore, he asked Devendranath Tagore. Devendranath Tagore was Ravindranath Tagore's father. He was a spiritual leader of Brahma Samaj. Narendranath was only a boy of 18 years. So he went and asked Devendranath Tagore, he was about 70 years or 75 years, sir, have you seen God? Devendranath Tagore could not say, I have seen God. Swamiji was not pleased. Narendranath was not pleased. So he went on asking 1, 2, 3, at last came to Sri Ramakrishna. And when he asked Sri Ramakrishna, sir, have you seen God? Sri Ramakrishna said, what? Seeing God? I have seen him much more clearly than I see you, he said. That was a Vedantic statement he made. When one sees God, one does not see God through these physical eyes. These physical eyes, there are so many layers on the Atman, the soul we are. The soul is there. Over it there is a covering of mind. Over that there is a covering of the senses. And afterwards the object is there. There are, through these two screens you see the things outside. Whereas when we see God in the soul itself. Soul directly sees God. Atma eva atmana pashyati. God is seen directly through the Atman. That is why Sri Ramakrishna said, I have seen him more clearly than I see you. That means I have got a direct realization of God. What is the greatness of this statement? Swamiji later on said, here was a person to whom religion was not a personal thing. He made religion into a science. It was Sri Ramakrishna who made religion into science. Till then they were thinking it is a personal achievement of somebody, so he can see God. So all cannot see God. Sri Ramakrishna said, I have seen God. If you want to see God, I can show him to you also. If whoever wants, I can show him. I have got a methodology for it. When you say that you can see and others also can see, and there is a method to see him, it becomes a science. That is where science differs from the dogmatic religions. Dogmatic religions say only my prophet has seen God, you cannot see God, you have only to believe. It is no science. Sri Ramakrishna said, the Vedantic religion, the religion of the rishis and what we call popularly as Hinduism, does not depend upon dogma, that only one person can see, you have only to believe. You can yourself verify if God is there, if it has been seen by Vishwamitra or Vasishta, it must be seen by Gautamananda also today. It is possible. This is what Sri Ramakrishna said. Swamiji preached this one. If there is a God, we must see him. If there is a soul, we must see him. And there is a method given by our seers. It is recorded in our 2000 or 3000 years of history, spiritual history. Let us follow this method. And Sri Ramakrishna followed. He not only realized God in one aspect, in every aspect that we Hindus think of God. We think of God in the aspect of father, aspect of mother, aspect of Devi, and aspect of child, in different aspects. Sri Ramakrishna realized all of them, and he went beyond them also. He saw God in the formless way in which the Islam or the Christianity or the Jewish religion, they conceive of God. God has no form. In India also we think God has no form. Sri Ramakrishna was asked, sir, has God form or is he formless? Very ordinary. When you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, one of the greatest books on spirituality, it gives everything in such a clear way. Any one of us can understand. And when once you read that book from one end to another, about 1200 pages, you will have no philosophical questions left with you. So everything will be clear to you. Only you have to refer to the particular page. If you are reading 3 pages or 4 pages of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is called Kathamrita in the original, in Bengali, it gives you everything about every philosophy. The fundamentals of all religions are there. Fundamentals of all philosophy are there. And every mystic experience is there. It is an encyclopedia, you can say, of religion and philosophy. And Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, it's all simple teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. There he explains, is God having form or is he formless? Sri Ramakrishna said, he has form, simultaneously he is formless also. How to believe this one? It is illogical, isn't it? If the air, it has no form. So how can I say it has a form? So all of us, we are all having form. We are not like air, formless. Either we have form or we are formless. How can form and formlessness simultaneously be there? So Sri Ramakrishna gave an example. This was the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. Most intricate things in a simple simile he used to give. So he gave the simile. You see, you have the big ocean. 2/3 of the world is water only. It is ocean. Simultaneously the ice blocks are there in the 2 poles. They never melt at all. They are part of the sea. The part of the sea, when it goes to the topmost point, it has always a form. It is in the form of ice. Simultaneously, the formless water also is there. Simultaneously, water has form and formless also. Like that, God is simultaneously Rama, Krishna, Devi, Kali, Ganesha, Muruga. All gods and goddesses also are there. Formless God, whom we call as Brahman, is also there. If you meditate on Brahman, you see Brahman. If you meditate on Muruga, you meditate on Muruga. This tremendous explanation of Sri Ramakrishna's direct experience, this convinced, and in the end, so he became a disciple, as Krishnamurti has told you. I don't go into that one. Then he wanted to realize God in the highest aspect, that he is there. He himself has become the whole universe. One of the very important teachings of Sri Ramakrishna was, I see God himself has become the whole universe of beings as well as non-beings, the insentient beings, the external nature and the soul of man and God, they are all one. God himself has become the soul of man. God himself has become the whole universe. He called as not jnana but vijnana, he said. V means visheshata. Visheshatah jnana. This is a special knowledge. Sri Ramakrishna explained this one. What is this special knowledge? Till Sri Ramakrishna's time, the Indian philosophy, they used to give us the highest ideal of our life is to realize God as the all-pervading Brahman, Brahma Satyam. Brahman alone is true. God alone is true. What about this world? Jagan Mithya. This is false. This is false like a dream. This has no existence at all. This was the classical Advaita, which has got a great validity, right up to Shankaracharya and his successors. This is what we are, even today we are reading this one only. Classical Advaita talks to you about jnana, knowledge. Sri Ramakrishna did not stop there. He said, he also realized the highest, saying, beyond, going beyond the senses, beyond the mind, and there is only one existence, that is Brahman. When he came down to the world, what was his realization? Sri Ramakrishna said, I never see this world as unreal. I see God himself is existing in this form also. I see in every being that God himself is there. Every man, every woman, every child, every cat or every dog, every being. It is only God alone is there in several forms. So God, I see closing my eyes also in Samadhi as one being. When I open the eyes, the world also is full of God. It is with this idea. So Swami Vivekananda was told, when Swami Vivekananda realized the first experience of Sri Ramakrishna, that everything is Brahman, and when he came down, he was immersed in a tremendous bliss, infinite bliss of Brahman. He went to Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna asked him, what do you want? He said, oh, I have experienced this wonderful experience of Brahman, the infinite joy. Bless me that I should be immersed in this joy itself. Once in 3 or 4 days, let me come down to take some food. Otherwise, this body would not be there, mind would not be there. So how can I experience joy? Through this means only enjoy. Therefore, 2 or 3 days, once in 2 or 3 days, let me come down from Samadhi, that highest absorption, then take some little food, again go back into Samadhi. May I be merged in this infinite joy. Sri Ramakrishna said, what? What are you talking like a mean-minded person? You see, to realize God in Samadhi and being merged in God himself. I don't want anything. I want to be merged in God. It is a great thing. Achievement by any disciple. Any other teacher would have been very happy. Here was Sri Ramakrishna. He was telling him, you talk like a mean-minded person. You want to enjoy God only for yourself. You don't want to give the joy of God to others. There is a higher state than that, than being merged in the infinite joy of God and enjoying it. The other state is when you come down and open your eyes and see, you see God alone is in every being, and you go and serve them. Serve God. So dealing with every person is not simply dealing with him. It is not a social dealing. It is not a social service. It is worshipping God. You are seeing God everywhere. This is the Vijnana state. Attain to the Jnana, the highest knowledge that God is alone. God alone exists. Nothing else exists. When you come down and see the multiplicity, we see the universe of phenomenon, the universe of senses. We see God alone here everywhere. Nothing other than God. To see God everywhere means to revere Him everywhere, to love Him everywhere, to serve Him everywhere, to sacrifice Him for everywhere. All the best qualities in philosophy or morality will come into us with this perception. Seeing God alone everywhere, inside and outside. Sri Ramakrishna called this as the Vijnana state. Swamiji, he advised him, this is the state you must attain. And then Swamiji used to sing a song. So I was very much glad to hear our Karmalkar singing a Bengali song, beautiful song. Swamiji used to sing a song for Sri Ramakrishna. Tujhse humne dil ko lagaya, jo kuch hai so tu hi hai. Harsh se lekar farsh bhari tak, farsh se lekar arsh bhari tak, जहां मैं देखा तू ही nazar आया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. A ghazal. He used to sing this song. Wherever I see the Lord alone. So from the earth right up to the heavens, from heavens right up to the earth, wherever I see you only, Lord. So Sri Ramakrishna used to hear this song from Narendra. He asked him to repeat. You repeat that one, you have not understood the meaning. That meaning is this vijnana. You must realize God through samadhi, going into the deep samadhi state in yoga. But when you come down, you will not deny the world. You see God alone everywhere. Attend to the needs of the world. People want physical some help. Go and serve them and feel you have served God. Go and help people by giving education. Feel that you have served God. Go and give spiritual instruction to people. Then also feel you have served God. So live in this world, as Krishnamurti said, as a giver. Give to everybody, because it is the worship of God. It is not, I am not giving anything. We go and worship God in some temple. Kapaleshwaran temple we go, or Parthasarthi temple we go, or we go to Sri Ramakrishna's temple itself. We go and worship there. So we don't feel that we have spent something. We have given away something. More we worship, we feel more punyam we have got, more merits we have got, more joy is stored for us in future. We feel greater and greater enthusiasm to repeat this worship. Sri Ramakrishna taught Swami Vivekananda. This is how we must live in life. We must see God everywhere. Whatever we do to the world, we are storing meritorious deeds for us, punya for us, and that punya purifies our mind, purifies our emotion. We become better men. So this is how service became worship of God. Shivajnane Jiva Seva. In Bengali, Shivajnane, in the knowledge of God, Jiva Seva, serve the human beings, serve all the beings, thinking that you are serving God alone, you are worshipping God alone. Swami Vivekananda was so much impressed by this tremendous teaching. He went on, at that time itself he proclaimed, if I get an opportunity, I am going to preach this gospel all over the world. And he preached everywhere. In fact, this is one of the easiest means of getting self-purification, making our mind pure so that we can go deep into ourselves and find our own divinity, and coming down from that, see divinity everywhere. This is the easiest way of serving people, thinking that God alone is there. First we start with faith, and later on we end up in realization. That is how all our knowledge starts. We think that without faith we can learn. Even the arithmetic we have learned only through faith. I send my child to the school and the teacher says 1 plus 1 equals 2. The child, suppose it questions, how is 1 plus 1 equal 2? What will you explain to that small child? So it has to take on faith. This teacher says 1 plus 1 equals 2. It takes for granted 1 plus 1 equals 2. Then he comes home, and then father gives him 2 rupees, and then you give him 2 rupees. So he will count 1, 2, and he feels, 2 rupees I have given. 1 plus 1 equals 2, he verifies. Later on, first, when the teacher taught, it was taken on faith. You have to take on faith. Afterwards, experience will prove that what you have taken in faith is correct. It tallies with reality. Similarly, in spiritual life also, we take on faith. Sri Ramakrishna has said this. Everywhere is God alone. In every human being, God alone is there. By giving physical things to people, by giving people a shelter, giving people education, I am worshipping God. Take it on faith. With that faith, if we can work in society, we can work in our family. Society does not mean I have to go all the way from IIT campus to somewhere in Tiruvallur and don't work. You can work in IIT itself. You need not be in the IIT, be in your home. See God in all the people, members of your home. Wherever you are, let the outlook change. Our outlook, on faith we shall take. God alone is there as my father, as my mother, as my brother, as my relatives, as my neighbors, as my fellow students, as my fellow lecturers. If I can think about this one, automatically the spring of service comes. We Indian people, we are prone to worship. Each one worships in his own way. Whenever we ring up somebody, some officer, he puja kar rahe hain Maharaj. That means he is doing puja. He is an IAS officer, he is a secretary of some department, but he is doing puja. Suppose somebody else, we ask some political leader, we want to want so Congress president, puja kar rahe hain sir. Everybody is doing puja, but means everyone want to do something about God. They must be related in his own way. All people may not be doing the same type of puja, but doing in his own way. We love to be associated with God. We cannot live without thinking about God. Once in the morning, once in the evening, at whatever time we get, everyone has his own way of thinking about God. Worshipping God is a very natural thing for us. So if worship of man becomes worship of God, there is no end for social service. All of us will be social workers. We can revolutionize the whole country. That is how Swami Vivekananda, when he came and said, it is not men you are worshipping, you are worshipping God, and worshipping God every day, every night, day after day, week after week, or month after month, you will realize God himself. So he said to one of our great Swamis of our order, one Swami Turiyananda was there. Swami Turiyananda was known for his great knowledge, direct knowledge of God. He was called a Brahmajnani. So this Swami Turiyananda, himself a knower of God and such an accomplished man, he tells Swami Turiyananda, Swami Vivekananda tells Turiyananda, he used to call him Haribhai. He was called Harish. So Haribhai, I have found a new easy method of realizing God in this Kali Yuga, and that is serving human beings as temples of God. Serving every human being, thinking, I am worshipping God. Worshipping God through human being. This is the new path I have chalked, where Buddha reached through meditation, where Christ reached through prayer, where the Indian yogis reached through meditation. I have found a new path. Every common man can do this one. We can always serve. We are serving our wives, we are serving our husbands, we are serving our parents, we are serving our children and grandchildren, we are serving our students, our teachers. If we can begin to think that we are worshipping God through this, whole thing becomes a spiritual practice. And spiritual practice must culminate in the highest spiritual realization. Swamiji was referring to this. If we can do this one properly, we go on thinking about God when we serve people. When we do anything to people, we forget the physical man or the mental man. We think about the God behind this body and mind. Constantly thinking about God, we attain to God realization. Swamiji spoke about this in such a high term. Later on, Swami Turiyananda, he was not an ordinary person like us, to take on faith. So he said, I tell you, 3 days if you can really follow what Swami Vivekananda has said, whatever you do, you think that you are doing it to God alone, through human beings, through other beings, whatever service you do, you are doing only the worship of God. 3 days if you follow, you will certainly realize God. This was Turiyananda's statement. And this great mantra of realization, realizing God through service to humanity, service to all beings, became so much, Swami Vivekananda became so obsessed with this idea. To everyone he would go and tell. I was in Mauritius. 2 times I went to Mauritius. First time when I went, I didn't see the thing that I am going to tell. Second time I think some 5-6 years back when I went, I saw there is a huge hall, a auditorium hall. And then it was not there in my earlier visit. They asked him, what is this big hall? There was one person, a devotee who had taken me there. Oh, Swami, you have not seen it. No, I didn't see in my last visit. So what is this hall? This hall is called the International Hall for cultural conferences of different nations. It is an international hall for cultural conferences. But it has been added, Swami Vivekananda International Hall for Cultural Conferences. I said, how come in Mauritius, Swami Vivekananda's name has got joined to it? Oh Swami, this was constructed by the L&T. It is one of the 10,000 seats are there. And there are so many other latest arrangements are there. You can pull 5,000 seats into the walls and only 5,000 will be there. And there are so many, about 300 princes can go and stay. So many rooms are there constructed with all style, modern style. There are 6 or 7 international 7-star or 9-star hotels there. If you want to stay in a Mohammedan hotel, you can stay there. Taj Hotel is there. And of course, continental hotels are there. All types of hotels. It is a huge complex. I said, how Vivekananda got associated with this one? So we went near. When I was just climbing the stairs, at the entrance of it, Swami Vivekananda's bust is there. And below the bust, there is a saying, serving people, thinking that God alone is in them, may be an international religion. So Swamiji's statement. Swamiji was obsessed with this idea. This is the idea that will appeal to the present Kali Yuga. We cannot live without action. We cannot live without our attachment to people. We have to live in society. We love people. So convert this love into a divine love. Let it not be a social love. Let it be a divine love. See God in your father, see God in your mother, see God in your relative. So seeing that, do all that you want. But every time you think about God who is behind the person. So this is a little water. So Swami Vivekananda, this great statement has revolutionized the world. In one of his letters, Swami Vivekananda was writing to one of his American disciples. He was staying in Almora. It was somewhere in 1901. He had returned from America. So he is sitting in Almora, and in front of him the Himalayan picture is there. The Himalayan peaks are there with the sunset, and the sun rays are being reflected. Whole Himalaya looks like a golden Himalaya. And Swamiji is writing a letter to his friend, to his disciple. He is writing, see Mary, so that Mary is his disciple. So Mary, I am here looking at the Himalayas. What beauty, what grandeur. The whole Himalaya looks like golden. Immediately next writes, but this is only a physical beauty. There is nothing, no beauty compared to the beauty that is written on the brow of man. Man is the most beautiful person because that living God is there. Every man is a living God. Before that beauty, this Himalayan beauty is nothing. Swamiji was so much enchanted by this idea of seeing God in everyone. So he comes over to Belur Mutt. So his one idea was to make all his brother disciples also accept this idea of serving God in man. Because in our whole country, we go for temples, we do pujas, we do rituals, we offer dhanam, we do everything, forgetting the man. So Swami Vivekananda wanted to turn the mind to the living God. So turn the mind to the living God. So Swamiji, he said, I will feed all the tribal people that are working here on the fields of Belur Mutt. Belur Mutt was being built, so hundreds of coolies were working. So Swamiji said, I want to feed them all. So he asked all the brahmacharis, so you prepare very nice food for them. So we will ask them to take a good feast with us. He goes and tells the leader of that 100 Santal tribe. So he tells them, so see that we want to feed you. The best things we will feed you which you will have never eaten before. So will you please take, you give us the date, on that day we will have this feast. Just imagine Swamiji approaching this Santal leader. So that leader says, no Swami, we will not eat from your hand. We are all Santals. We don't eat from others' hands. Will you not eat at all? No, whatever condition you have, you put a condition, I will follow that condition, but I want to feed you. Swamiji supplicates himself. So then the Santal, he dictates terms. He says, all right, you can feed us, but you should not put salt into any of them. So separately you keep salt. If anybody wants, let them take themselves. If you put salt, we cannot eat. Our jat will go. Swamiji accepts this. Accept this. The idea is, it is God I am serving. I must supplicate whatever he wants. I am ready to serve. So he called all the 100 Santals. That place is there in Belur Mutt. Whenever I go and see that place, so I get inspired. So he made all those Santals sit there. He brought all the delicacies. There was Rasagulla, there was Rajbhog, there was Payasam, there was all things which they relished very much. They all ate. When they were eating half through, he calls all the brahmacharis and shows them. See the joy on their faces. I feel Narayana himself is enjoying it. Narayana himself is enjoying it. Can you not give pleasure to these people like this? What is the good of your Gerva robe? What is your Kashaya Vastra? What is the good of becoming a monk if you cannot serve people like this? Such simple people. I feel directly Narayana is eating. You also will do the same thing. All our study of Shastras, everything will come later. First, give predominance to serve these poor people. This was Swamiji's idea, Swamiji's way of looking at the world because of that extraordinary vision of Vijnana vision which Sri Ramakrishna has given him. So this type of worshipping God through man, it revolutionized the whole concept of our religion and philosophy. After Swami Vivekananda, social service has been accepted by all the orthodox schools also. Orthodox schools of the different schools here in India, they never bothered about serving man or serving in any way. Simply they would give the intellectual concepts of Vedanta and say our work is finished. It was Swami Vivekananda who said, not only you should preach the principles of Vedanta, you must bring it down into this practice. What is the essence of Vedanta? That God alone is everything. If God alone is everything, He is the same God who is seen in your Samadhi as the only one entity, and He is the same God who appears as many also. So if this is true, then God is existing in all these forms. So to serve this God in any way is worshipping God. And worshipping God must take you to realization. So Swami Vivekananda found out one of the easiest way for God realization, for which every one of us is after it. Once I was a brahmachari way back. I have been in the Ramakrishna mission for more than 55 years as a monk. So when I was a brahmachari in Delhi, so I just was walking along the street. Then I found my chappal has given way. So some repair was required. So there was a cobbler there, sitting there. So I went to him, you please repair this one. So that man, he just repaired the chappal and gave it over to me. Then I took out a coin from my pocket, maybe 4 annas coin. So I gave it to him. He said, no sir, I cannot accept, you are a sadhu. I have served a sadhu. See this cobbler, he has got the idea that he has to serve the sadhu for what? For God realization. Everyone in this country, our aim is God realization, is moksha, to become spiritually enlightened. Spirituality is the goal of our life. Even a cobbler, he may not know to express, but he is following the same path which has come down to him through his parampara. All the great saints and seers, they go to all the interior nooks and corners of our country. What is the theme they sing? Tyagaraja's song he was singing. Very, very rare. Whatever song you sing, it is only spirituality. Tyagaraja went and then he was given a lot of presents by the king. He said, I don't want a present. No, you must take the present and come and sing in the king's court. Then Tyagaraja started weeping. Nidhi jala sukhama, Sri Ramuni sannidhi seva sukhama, nijamuga paluku manasa. He started singing. He started, is this nidhi, is this outer wealth, is it greater? Or sannidhi, the nearness to God is greater? Oh mind, you choose between this. If you accept this silver and gold, you have to go and serve the king. If you don't accept this silver and gold, you will be alone with God, you can worship God, you will be nearer God. So he accepted the second, he refused to take the first. This is how vairagya, detachment must come to us. If there is something higher than that one, even naturally we give up. So when I say by serving others, I get God. I easily go and serve. It is a small thing. To give some 200 rupees, I have got extra in my pocket. To give it to others is a very easy thing, provided I can get mukti out of it, provided I can see God. This is how detachment comes naturally for a person who thinks that it is a worship. Swamiji placed this idea of worshipping God through human beings, and he also always said that what is this freedom? This freedom or realization of God, we must have some clear idea. We just go on telling, so we just sell. All right, you follow dharma. We tell all our young people, be good, be good. Be good means, what is this goodness means? So I always tell, be good means only 4 things. What are these 4 things? Be truthful and be self-controlled. Keep your body and mind under your control. Don't allow them to run away like beasts. Keep them under your control. Self-control. Third one is be selfless. Be loving to others also. Don't be selfish. Be selfless. Go out to help others also. Fourth is, which is the core of all these 3, that there is a God whose children we are all. When I think that there is one God who is our father, mother, from whom we have all come, all of us become brothers and sisters. And you don't have to teach, you go and help your brother. You don't have to teach, you go and help your sister. Naturally, you'll go and help. These 4, if anybody has, if he has faith that God is our father and mother and the whole universe is his children, if he has faith in truthfulness, in being self-controlled, being selfless, he is good. You can tell me anybody, these 4 are enough. You don't have to go for Krishna or Rama or Christ or Muhammad. You don't require. Have these 4. You have got all the religion you have got in the world. And we are surely going to realize God. So this goodness, Swamiji always advocated. The fundamentals of our religion, you must preach. Swamiji wanted India to conquer the world, he said. Conquer the world how? Not through weapons, not through army, but through sacrifice and service, through spirituality. Swamiji said spirituality. To Swamiji, spirituality means the service and sacrifice. The sacrifice means to sacrifice the selfish interest. Serve the whole humanity as your own. To see the humanity as your whole means we are children of God. Therefore, are we not one? We are all brothers and sisters. Why? Because we are children of one Father. This idea of faith in God is very, very important. So this faith in God combined with truthfulness and self-control and selflessness will give the essence of all religions. Swamiji preached this in the West. So that is why he said, I am not preaching anything about Christianity or Hinduism or Buddhism. When he taught about universal religion, he said, the universal religion will be neither Buddhistic nor Christianistic, nor it is Mohammedanistic. It will be a God whose limit we do not know, whose names we do not know. It is beyond all name, beyond all forms. That means it will be these disciplines. If these disciplines are there, you are a good Hindu, you are a good Mohammedan, you are a good Christian, you are a good Buddhist. If these 4 qualities are not there, if you are not truthful, if you are not self-controlled, if you are not selfless, if we don't have faith that God is the creator of all of us, we are his children. If you don't have this, you may call yourself any religion. You are bringing bad name to that religion only. This is how the Vedanta stands high above all. We go to the fundamental principles of all religions and we accept them. So in India, that's why we don't mind at all. If some Hindu goes into a mosque, we have gone into mosque. We have gone into the churches. Because I have stayed in Meghalaya, there only churches are there. There are no, except our Ramakrishna Mission temple, there is no temple at all. One High Court judge came to Meghalaya. So he wanted to go and salute in some Hindu temple. He could not get any Hindu temple at all in the whole of Meghalaya. He went to Shillong, wherever he is, there are only churches are there. And then where he comes to Cherrapunji, where I was there also all over his churches only. Then I was standing outside. So this judge came. Then I said, where are you coming from? He said, I'm the Karnataka High Court judge. Come. I took him inside. First I took him to our shrine of Sri Ramakrishna. Oh Swami, I have got my breath. I have lost my breath itself. I wanted to do some pranam to God in some Indian forum. I could not get at all. You see, we are everywhere. In that place, I used to go into the churches. And Swami Ramakrishna was here, who started this Mailapur Ramakrishna Mutt. He used to go directly into St. Thomas Church, a monk of the Ramakrishna order, wearing the ochre robe. He would straight walk into St. Thomas Church, kneel before the cross, and then pray in his own way, come out. People would be wondering, what is this Hindu monk going into church and then saluting and praying and coming out, again going into his temple and worshipping in his own way? We can do it because we believe not in any forum, not in outward manifestation. Fundamentals of religion is be truthful, be self-controlled, be selfless, have faith in God that you are His child and the whole universe is His child, and behave, live like that. We believe in His life. Swami Vivekananda wanted us to follow these fundamentals of religion. Wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Now you are all IIT people, and most of you are always blamed. I don't blame you, but many people use it as a blame. They don't live in India at all. As soon as they pass out, they go away. Let them go anywhere. Why are you bothered about it? So when they go, I have also gone several times, 2 times to the west. There I have been to so many of these places. They have taken me to churches. They have taken me to the temples. Wherever you are, our people are very happy. They go to the churches and then they sit with all the other Christians and they also pray and come. They remain full good Hindus only. They are not Christians. You can be one with the children of God everywhere because our religion is so wide, so vast and so fundamental. If you are there, you are a good Christian, you are a good Mohammedan, you are a good Buddhist, you are a good Hindu. This is what Swami Vivekananda taught us. Always live the practical life as a Vedantin. So I don't want to take much of your time. Already I have perhaps extended beyond my time. Only I will just close. All joy is in freedom. Swamiji always used to use this word freedom with reference to spiritual knowledge. What will you get by spiritual knowledge? Spiritual knowledge will give you freedom, he said. Freedom is the one thing that makes you happy. Without freedom, the most happiest things are no happiness at all. Suppose you are given everything is the TV will be given to you, food will be given to you, and 4 kansamas will be there to give you whatever food you want, and there will be 4 people to serve you. Everything will be done. Only your compound will be locked. You will not be allowed to go here and there. That means you are in house arrest. All the things will be given. Would you like to stay in that bungalow anytime? Oh, all gadgets are there, everything is there, enjoyment is there. You will never be able to live there. No. If it is house arrest, I don't want to live here. Better I live in some hut where I am not in a house arrest. Our tribal children, they are brought up under the sky, under the vast jungles. They do not know what a compound to a building is. So when we went to Arunachal Pradesh, then we had a big area of about 70 acres of land for our higher secondary school. So we said, let us put a fencing over this one. 70 acres of land far off. So we are putting some fencing. But these boys, tribal boys, they are in the hostel there. They just looked at the far off distance. Oh, what is that they are doing? They are putting up a fence there. They started clamoring, oh, we are all put in prison, 70 acres of land. These boys will never go anywhere at that time. Small boys. They are afraid of that. Oh, we are putting in a fence. We are being enslaved here. We are in a jail. Then I said, no. For you it is not there. Only for cows, etc. we are putting. You have got gates. You can go at any time. You see how the freedom is the thing that makes everything happy. If there is anything obstruction to your freedom, you will never enjoy anything. Swamiji said, spirituality will give you the real freedom. Spirituality means the love for everyone. I am the child of God, everyone is the child of God. So, everyone is my brother and sister, I have no fear to go. Suppose here a girl is there, I go and stand here and speak. She is my sister. Nobody will say anything. If you have got really this feeling inside you, you go to any girl and talk. Nobody will tell. If you are clean within yourself. I have seen persons like that. One of our Swamis, I will close with this incident, a very interesting incident. One of our Swamis, Swami Atmananda, he is no more. He was of my own age. He passed away just before he reached 60. He was the head of our Raipur center. Most brilliant student. He was the hosteler in our Nagpur center. From a hostel, he used to go to the Nagpur University, and he was a mathematics student in MSc. He scored such high marks in mathematics in 1953 or 52. Till today, that record stands. Nobody has scored like that. So this person, after scoring the highest and getting the record marks in MSc, he was already offered several doctorate studies from West. He refused. He can become a monk of our order. And before that, joining our order, he appeared for IAS and IFS. He was selected for both. He did refuse. He did not go and join the service. He became a monk. Whenever he would go to the central government, all his colleagues who appeared for IAS, IFS, they were all secretaries of department. All would stand up. Oh, Tulendu. He was Tulen Verma, he was called. Such a wonderful mind, just like a second Vivekananda. So straightforward and courageous. He would speak in Hindi means he would hold 10,000 audience like that. Such a great person. So he, when he was a student, he was in the hostel, he was walking along the street along with his two or three friends. So he is walking along, and from front, 3 or 4 girls of their own batch. So they were also studying the co-education in the university. They were walking in front. They were coming in front of him. These three boys are walking. As soon as one of his friends saw some girls walking, he passed some derogatory remark against the girls. Immediately Tulendu said, "Why did you remark like that? They are our sisters. You should not have remarked like that." Immediately that fellow shot off saying, "Oh, they are your sister. If they are your sisters, go and touch their feet." He said, "I shall touch. But on the promise, you will never utter another remark in your whole life. Give me the promise." He gave the promise. Tulendu walked straight, and those girls were coming. He touched all the 4 girls' feet and came back. And later on, he became a monk. What made this boy do like that in an open street? People would have considered him mad. He did not mind. His heart was so clean. He found that everybody is my sister. What does it matter if people say something else? This purity must come into us. When this purity comes, when I see God everywhere, real freedom comes at that time. No woman, no man, no fear of anybody, no social ostracization, no criticism. You don't care for anybody. I am clean. I am seeing God everywhere. They will also see God in me. This real freedom must come. It will come with spiritual illumination. Swamiji gives us the method by which we can achieve. Every one of us. We are young people, we may be old people also. In whatever state we are, Swamiji has given us an easy method of worshipping God in man. May we take to that one, and all further details about this one. Swami Atma Shraddhananda is coming here regularly. Meet him and discuss with him. This point, if we can understand, we can make our life self-fulfilled. We will really live a good life, happy life, a life of peace and joy and prosperity and progress in this world. And our inner life also will be full of peace and joy. So may Sri Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother bless us all so that we take to this path and enjoy, experience this spiritual freedom. Thank you very much.